Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. We have paged Dr. Paul, and he's in the house right now. Great to have you here on the show.
Good to be back.
The one thing, and it's very timely, and unfortunately we saw this, horrific situation with Hurricane Sandy, but really a reminder for what we're looking at in terms of our own emergency preparedness.
That's right. You know, when Hurricane Sandy hit, we actually went into emergency mode. The Cornwall and Eastern Ontario area was on alert, and we actually were in emergency management sort of mode, worried about what would happen if stuff like this happened in the States. And so I think it was a reminder. And the other thing that reminded me as well is, if you recall, there were two types of storms at the same time. There was a typical summer storm, the hurricane and the winds and the lightning and that type of thing, and the flooding. And then literally in West Virginia, they had 3 feet of snow all of a sudden with people stranded in the snow. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about emergency preparedness, not only in terms of flooding and power outages, which we can get in the winter as well, but also sudden snowstorms and so on. Because people, I just got my winter tires put on yesterday.
Smart.
And then it reminded me of that as well, because I travel a lot in the back roads in Eastern Ontario. And I thought that it would be a good opportunity. So just basic sort of home safety in terms of having an action plan, having a predetermined action plan. I was talking with my wife and said, what if we had to evacuate right away? Where would we meet? If, those type of things. So an action plan of what you do, where you would meet, and really a survival kit. A survival kit is important. You saw people, left their homes and came back to nothing. But even if it's a power failure that lasts a couple of days and you can't stay at home or you're evacuated, you need to have that duffel bag full of that survival kit, which is really, water, the essentials that you need. But you can't be rushing around doing it last minute. You see, this one here, they had predicted. They predicted, and people were prepared. But some weren't.
Well, what's interesting is that I was in New York over the course of that weekend, and the amount of headlines and the preparations and the mayor saying, get your water and your batteries and everything. And in talking with most people in the streets, they're like, we're New Yorkers. It's a storm coming. And it's always the anticipation that it's really not going to be that bad.
Exactly.
But when you look now at pictures of the New York shelves and the food shelf, there's nothing left.
Exactly.
So are these the types of things that you almost have a checklist and a kit somewhere within the house that you can just grab and go?
You should have a checklist. You can go on any website that, Ontario government website, our website at eohu.ca. There's an emergency preparedness kit that you can have. So it's water, it's essential, it's battery power, it's batteries, it's battery powered radio, crank powered flashlights, enough canned goods, granola bars, those type of things to last you. And people say, well, how long should I have it for? For 72 hours per person per day. So you need a couple of liters. Yeah, per person per day. So it's a lot. But if you take your time and do it, and it's there, and don't sort of go into it, for non-emergency issues. That's one of the things that you should be thinking about. The other thing, again, is really talking with your family as how you're going to evacuate and what you want to do, where you'll meet. Let's say you're in different areas and they evacuate and you can't come home. Where are you going to meet? Those type of things. Have some cash as well, because as you see, their machines don't work. The banking machines don't work. Obviously, if you have extra gasoline, it's great, but that's for generators and so on. But I think the main thing is to be prepared. And then on the other hand, talking about winter safety, again, winter tires I think are recommended. I come from Quebec and it was mandatory, but I think I'd recommend it. I don't think the all-year tires cut it in terms of driving in the snow. But I think, again, you should also have an emergency kit in your car. Let's say what happens in your car. And they sell them, hardware stores sell them, have basically blankets, water, similar things. Or what if you get stranded in your car? You saw a lot of these people in West Virginia were just stranded, couldn't get anywhere. 3 feet of snow within an hour or two.
Did you feel it? I mean, I know you were doing emergency preparedness within your own hospitals, that you could sense what they were going through in the hospitals in the States.
We sensed it because we were actually worried about worst case scenario. So when you look at the risk of the area, the Eastern Ontario risk, for example, is really flooding, power outages. Those are the two risks that we have. Earthquakes is, by the way, earthquake is another one, which we had overnight, but thank God it wasn't a bad one. But when we talk about those, we look at what are our contingency plans in terms of the community itself. Do we need to put up shelters? What do we do with our vaccine supply? Because don't forget, public health stores all the vaccines. We have millions of dollars vaccine. So we needed to have our generators back up. We had to actually have a truck as a contingency, these refrigerator trucks to be ready. And so, we did that at a larger level, but I think it starts at home. And I sent a memo to all our staff as well, reminding them to get their families ready in case they had to evacuate or they had to survive for a couple of days without any power or had to evacuate quickly.
I think it was a good reminder for a lot of us.
It's a good reminder.
Thankfully, we were in a safe zone, but
Yes.
definitely it made us, I think, all of us think a little bit more.
It does.
Thank you so much, and of course, always great to page our Dr. Paul.